Two Broadway musicals getting the film treatment in late 2021. One of them with serious Oscar potential, the other one, maybe not so much. Let's talk about Tick, Tick, Boom and Dear Evan Hansen. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free reviews for two recent musical films, Tick, Tick, Boom, which you can see on Netflix, and Dear Evan Hansen, which you can get on demand or on DVD as well. Before we dive into these musical films, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding my channel and this video. Please consider subscribing down below there. Would love to have you aboard, trying to hit 1,000 subs at some point in 2022 here, so on my way to that milestone. So let's talk about these two movies. I watched these a few weeks ago, and then with the holidays and trying to get all of my brand new release videos up, these sort of fell by the wayside a little bit, but had to hit them here. We're still catching up on a lot of the 2021 movies, and one of these has serious Oscar buzz around it, so definitely had to hit that one, and we'll throw the other one in with it, right? They sort of came out right around the same time. So let's talk first about Tick, Tick, Boom. This is a film starring Andrew Garfield as playwright Jonathan Larson, whose name you may know because he wrote Rent, and, unfortunately he never got to really see what Rent became. He died, I think it was like the week that Rent went up or something. So he sort of missed that. But this sort of is his origin story in the business. It takes place in his late 20s. He wants to be a successful playwright by the time he hits 30. So this is a biopic, but it's also autobiographical because Jonathan Larson did actually write this as a stage production before he did Rent. So it takes place in the early 90s. He's struggling to find himself. Andrew Garfield plays Jonathan Larson, and a lot of familiar faces in this. You've got Alexandra Shipp as his girlfriend and former dancer, and we've seen her in a lot of things. I know her from Love, Simon the most, but she's been in many, many things. Robin De Jesus, who has a lot of Tony nominations and a lot of Broadway stuff. He was in the original In the Heights on Broadway. And Vanessa Hudgens here as well. These guys, play a couple of his friends. And then you've also got Judith Light, Bradley Whitford, some real, sort of more classic performers here as some of the elder statesmen in the business in this movie. And this was directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda as a first-time feature film director. Of course, he's done a lot of stage stuff. I'm pretty sure, directed Hamilton, and I don't know if he directed In the Heights, but he certainly, wrote it. So he's got a lot of directing experience, sort of off camera, but more on Broadway. So this is his big feature, and I have to imagine, he has a severe reverence for Mr. Larson and his work. Rent sort of changed the entire game, just like Hamilton did, 15 years later or whatever. So, makes sense. I didn't really know anything about this when I stumbled across it. I saw that it was up new on Netflix, and it's been up now for, well over a month. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, I don't know what this is, but I like Andrew Garfield. Let's give it a try. Didn't even know it was a musical. If you watch my channel or you know me personally, I do not like spoilers. So I don't try to dive into, different, news articles about things or watch previews. I just kind of go in blindly. So I saw Andrew Garfield in the picture. I did know Lin-Manuel directed it because I think before I clicked on it, I just did a quick wiki and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this should be interesting. And I know how I felt about it. And then within the next week or two, it started getting all of this Oscar buzz. And, we're talking Andrew Garfield, very, very potential nominee for Best Actor. He's definitely one of the ones they're talking about the most. Could be Best Picture nominated. So, there could be serious awards play here. And it's already been up for a few different Golden Globes. So how did I feel about it, though? Let's talk about that. Well, I loved it. I was blown away by this thing. First of all, I had to look up while I was watching it if Andrew Garfield is doing his own singing. And yes, he is, because I had never heard of him singing before. I know his acting, and I think he's a cool dude, but I didn't know that he sang, and it turns out he kind of does it. He took vocal and piano lessons for this performance. And it shows because, man, it is a powerhouse performance. So far, for my money, in the best acting category, I think the ones that are most talked about right now are Will Smith for King Richard, um, Power of the Dog with Benedict Cumberbatch, and then Andrew Garfield. I think they're sort of the top three that people are talking about. For my money, this is the performance of the year for an actor. Actress, well, that's a whole nother category. We've got a lot of great actresses this year, but for lead actor, this for me is the performance of the year. I think Andrew Garfield deserves an Oscar for this. I really do. And the whole thing comes together really well. The music is great. The story is great. And knowing that it's, based on this guy's real sort of struggle in the business and to get his work in the door, and the sort of the agony of defeat in some areas. Again, we're not going to do spoilers, but just the sort of ebb and flow of the industry. I just thought it was pulled off brilliantly. My one negative, really, about this movie, and the reason it is not getting an A+ for me, it's hard because I want to give it an A+, but here's my big issue, and it's weird because I was excited about the Lin-Manuel Miranda directing. There's an odd choice that he and the producers and the writers decided to go with, and it is this motif of having the actual the character of Larson, played by Garfield, on stage doing the show that he did on Broadway back in 1992, but sort of then doing flashbacks. So we have this storytelling motif of, okay, I'm on the stage doing the thing. Now we're going to flash back to this scene. And to me, it just reeked a little bit much of Lin-Manuel not being confident enough to tell a linear story, and okay, he's got all of this theater background, so let's make sure we have the Larson character on a stage for, a good fifth maybe of the movie, and we'll flash back and forth to him playing, and I don't hate it. I just don't know how to feel about it. I don't love it. And it was something that came to my attention immediately of like, okay, is Miranda not quite confident in his directing abilities of a feature film that he had to throw some Broadway flair in there? I know the show's about Broadway. It makes sense for the movie. And if it was directed by somebody else, maybe I would actually have a different thought on it. But I don't know. It just sort of rubbed me as not the right choice. Didn't hate it, but I was conflicted about how I felt about it. So for that reason alone, I will give it an A. But this stands for me among the best movies of the year. And it's funny, all of the best movies of the year have been musicals. In the Heights got an A for me. And honestly, that's so close to an A+ as well. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, obviously, a huge part of that as well. West Side Story, my one and only narrative A+ of the year. I do have a documentary that got an A+, but for narrative, West Side Story, A+. So this is the year for the musicals. So now we get to Dear Evan Hansen, and I have a different perspective on that. I was very excited about this movie. I had heard for years about the stage production, obviously huge hit on Broadway. Ben Platt, who I've been watching in The Politician lately on Netflix, and he is very talented. We know this. He can sing the hell out of anything. We know that as well. And he originated this role on Broadway, so I thought, this is cool. They're going to bring this to film. Can't wait. But here's the thing. Knowing, myself, and okay, I don't watch many trailers. I don't seek things out. I actually didn't really know a lot of what this was about. I did end up seeing a trailer or two for this film. I forget what movies I was watching when I saw it. It might have actually been Black Widow when I went to the premiere of that. But in any event, I think Jungle Cruise 2 had it. But anyway, so I ended up seeing the trailer twice. But I still was intrigued. I was like, okay, look, Ben Platt is a little long in the tooth to play, 16 at this point, but all right, I'm going to go with it, whatever. So I think this may have been more effective on Broadway. First of all, because Ben Platt was so much younger. And at this day and age, look, I understand that people in their 20s and even 30s sometimes are going to play high school. They've been doing it for years. When I was growing up, 90210 was such a big hit, and everybody on there was like 28. So I get it. But there are some thematic issues about this that make it uncomfortable in some points to watch with Ben Platt as the lead. Okay, so let me just break down the basic story. So essentially, this guy, Evan Hansen, he is 17. I said 16, but he's 17. He has severe anxiety, and so his therapist suggests he writes letters to himself, talking about his positive attributes and why today was a good day and all of that. So he falls out of a tree, breaks his arm. This is all before the movie starts. And this other sort of outcast of the school, almost a bully, really, Connor, bullies him. And at the library, he sees this printout of letter to himself, writes his name real big on his cast, and then he ends up dying. So, okay, well now he's got this letter from Evan Hansen in his backpack. That it doesn't say it's from Evan Hansen to Evan Hansen, so people think that Connor wrote it, and then also he's got the sign on the cast. So, okay, these guys must have been great friends. So Evan Hansen basically permeates the lives of Connor's family and pretends that they were these best friends because he is lonely, he is unhappy in his life, so he sees an opportunity for a life with this family. And look, I get it from a narrative standpoint. Sure, it stands to reason that this would be the chain of events. But it's kind of icky, and there are questionable motives in a lot of movies. People hated Passengers because they thought it was gross that, Chris Pratt woke up Jennifer Lawrence. How selfish. That was sort of a love story, so I didn't take such offense to that. But I don't know. This one seems very creepy, and especially knowing that Ben Platt is nearing 30. And he insisted, that he play the role because, look, I originated this role. This is my role. And the filmmakers insisted. And great. But I don't think it worked. I really don't. I came, after this movie with an icky feeling. I didn't like the subject matter of the movie. And how does it come off? It comes off okay. But again, Ben Platt getting a little long in the tooth to play high school. The first season of The Politician was like 3 years ago now, and he did play high school in that, but the second season advances 5 years. So, now he's in his mid-20s or whatever in the show, okay, and he's 28 playing 24. It seems a little more reasonable, but this just didn't hit me right, this movie. Now, I will say some of the songs are pretty good. They're not as good as Tick, Tick, Boom. They're not as good as In the Heights, but for songs I was unfamiliar with, I thought some of them were pretty decent. And the supporting cast is good here as well. Let me name some of the people you probably know. Julianne Moore plays his mom, and she doesn't have a huge role, but she's in a few key scenes here. Caitlin Dever plays Zoe, the sister of Connor that killed himself, and then Amy Adams plays the mom of that family. And we've got Amanda Stenberg as well. I've seen her in many things, The Hate U Give, for example. And she's in here too as a friend of Evan's. But I just, everybody's fine here. Amy Adams, and I love her. I love her to death. She needs an Oscar badly, but the pictures that she's picking, I thought she was one of the worst parts of Hillbilly Elegy last year. And this year, this movie, I think they probably thought, it's a big hit musical. These are going to have Oscar chances. And I think she's missing the mark here in the project she's picking, because I think she's specifically going after some Oscar-y type stuff, and it's not hitting. She's fine in this movie. She's always, she's never been bad, that's for sure. But it just felt like the character was just a little more hollow than I would have liked. A lot of this movie didn't work. So look, that being said, I've ragged on it enough. Some positives are the music. I think the music is really good here. And who wrote the music? I don't know. Was it? Is this one of the ones that was written by? Okay, it was Justin Paul and Dan Romer. Okay, I thought this was one of the ones written by that '90s singer Duncan Sheik. That must be another show I'm thinking of. But it was directed by Steven Chbosky, who directed Perks of Being a Wallflower, which, I love, and, one of my favorite movies really of all time. And he wrote the book, for Perks as well. So, but he obviously knew that material because he wrote the book, so he was able to, film it in the way he wanted. This wasn't his baby from the start, so I don't know. Something maybe got lost in the translation. Maybe if I saw this on Broadway, I would think differently. But it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way as a film. So even though this is a great year for musicals, this does not rank up there with them. I leave Dear Evan Hansen with a C minus. One more musical, by the way, that I did enjoy. I did a review on it. Everyone's talking about Jamie. That was from a show as well, and I gave that like a B or a B plus. So another pretty good one to check out. But the top three, I mean, West Side Story, In the Heights, Tick Tick Boom, they're all probably in my top 5 of the year so far. So, expect to hear about them in my year-end wrap-up. But that will do it for this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.